Hello and welcome back to the APAC North. We are on Playday 4 here and we are on game number 2 and it's going to be an absolute banger. We've got Reject versus Talon, one that you and I have been looking forward to all day, Fabian. We've spoken about this a few times. Let's kick things off with, let's go with Reject. We'll have a look at them.
Yeah, we can
How
start
are they
with
looking
Reject.
at the
I mean, I showed you 2 clips before in the pre-show of how they're doing. If we can actually bring up the player highlight that I brought up, because there's one player that's new to this team, and that player have really just changed it all around for them. And the funniest part is, he's playing well statistically, but that's not where he shines. It's just the mentality that he brings to the team. Window have stepped in instead of Jack's favorite player, Naughty Meg. It's no time, but we don't need to get into that. It's just Window has stepped in, given them a complete overhaul on the mentality, and they seem to be really having fun right now.
And they're fun to watch because of it. This is the thing. And obviously we've got the player highlight, we've got all the numbers up there, you know, which I love to look at. I'm a numbers guy, I like those. But also for Window, you touch on it yourself, that mentality, that attitude. Watch his player cam is what I will say to people. As we're going through this game, keep an eye on it, because he's a hype man. He's in there, you'll see him every time they get a kill, he's like, yeah, let's go. And he's like really firing the team up, and it's working. They are, of course, going to be up against Talon X. You know, one of our teams that have been developing sort of slowly, I think, over the last 18 months or so. Getting better and better and looking really good this stage.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is where we start to look and think, you know, is the development of APAC as a region really starting to get somewhere when we've got these teams that are starting to move on through, and Talon are going to be one of those sides. And it's a nice balance today as well, because they've not necessarily got the easiest opponent in Rejects. I think they're going to be very tested here inside of this one. We've got the stats that we're going to be bringing up now, and we can see that it's going to be Demic that is going to be topping a lot of those stat lines, but top through bottom, there's a fairly well-rounded performance there.
Yeah, Hedy needs to step up a bit, but he's been put into a new role, kinda, so it's understandable why you're struggling to begin with. And then, as I always say, stats aren't always everything. It's more about how they brought in Misa and Marble and how they have a new playstyle that it's not really new, but they kind of added on top of what they already had last stage, and I would say that they're doing fairly well. It's the first team we've seen so far that have actually challenged Damwon and really got them to use their executes. Because Damwon have always been shutting teams down early. Talon, they couldn't do that with.
I mean, you know, 2 wins, 1 loss so far for Talon. It's going pretty well. They're a team that I've sort of tried to back over previous stages, and I've really wanted to see more out of them, but I couldn't just always bring myself to give them that prediction. But they are feeling a lot more sort of secure now, and a lot better. This is going to be a really good game. This is going to be absolutely, I'm certain that it's going to be close. Let's see where we are going to be playing it out. We can bring our map bands up, and what have we got? We don't have any more border, but we do have some Villa. That's going to be Talon's choice at the end of things there. They chose between Clubhouse and Villa. How do we think that's going to play out, Fabian?
So Talon played Villa against Spear Gaming in Playday 2, right? So Reject have a little bit to look into here and see, like, we know what they're supposed to do. The map kind of fits both teams, because Villa is the sort of map where you need to have some sort of explosives in your attack, and I'm not talking about grenades, I'm talking about like your players doing something different, and both of these teams are in that seat right now. Reject actually, we used to see Salty always carrying this team, and now he has entire team showing up. Both teams can play this map, and I think it's just going to be overall a really enjoyable game.
I think Reject X going to be looking potentially towards Taraniki as well. Obviously, we've picked up on Window. Taraniki, as you say, Fabian, they need that explosive element. He's somebody that they're going to be looking to for kills.
Absolutely, and you need that on Villa. You know, you need a very sort of cohesive performance. It's not all about the explosion. It's not as chaotic as Border where we were this morning. It's got a little bit more structure to it, but you still need those players that are willing to take the initiative. I think that Border is probably, for my money, one of the most crucial maps to get a good flank off as an attacker.
Yeah, I mean, well, Villa is the one we're going to play now, but it's the same sort of map.
Yeah.
It's just, both of these teams is just going to put in a good show. Both of them have the individual performance right now. Both of them are taking a step up, and then, well, it's just going to be a battle of who can play the best, I guess, but both teams can do it.
Well, we are in for an absolute treat, I think. And I've got another treat for you. We've already delivered one surprise in the form of XR Troika. I'm going to be delivering another one right now. We're going to be heading over to this game any second. Reject Talon. X is going to have a little walk, because not only is he on the desk, he's going to be casting. But let's send it over to Demo, who's in the studio as well.
Why am I here? What's going on? I'm not supposed to be here. What do you mean I'm muted? It says over there. What's going on? What seems to be the issue?
We'll get this sorted.
Good. Why am I broken and you're not? Press the button, Demo. I've pressed the button.
Hello.
Are you in?
I'm in.
Not in.
I'm live. You're not.
Why am I not in?
Goodness knows.
Fix it.
We're going to go to the game. I'm going to try and figure out sitting on the chair. As you can see, we prepared this really well. I should have probably moved the chair out of the way before we started, but we are just about ready to get ourselves into the game.
Are we in? We're here.
There we go. Demo's learned how to use the mixer.
Why am I doing this?
It's a big day for Demo.
Tim, if it wasn't for Tim, I'd be lost. I'm telling you, that man knows too much.
I honestly don't see a single problem with that. I think it was smooth.
So smooth. I mean, it's a good way to start me off muted, which is hopefully what most people have me on anyway.
I don't think anyone really noticed, did they?
No.
I think
also
everyone
true.
was just like, oh yeah, Demo's talking, we're just not hearing it.
No.
Well, here we go. Welcome, everybody. We are going to be looking over Reject versus Talon today. As we've mentioned there on the desk, we're going to be headed over to Villa. Bit of a treat for you and I, Demo. Get to cast a little bit of APAC.
What's going on? This is new.
Certainly
But,
is.
I mean, we've had experience with APAC before. Let's not, we're not coming in here as if we don't know nothing. We've seen plenty of APAC. You know, Cyclops has scarred us, like many other people. So we have an idea what this region can bring, of course. But Cyclops, of course, are much more in their own little spectrum compared to other sides that are coming in. Rejects, I think, has been a big talk of the town for, honestly, since like the past year. You know, we've heard a lot of people talk about Rejects never quite hitting the mark compared to what, you know, Sandbox went on to do, what Damon Kia, more importantly, has went on to do. So, yeah, I'm excited to see Rejects here. It's a tough challenge for them because they're against Talon and another side who, like Rejects, a team that we're starting to hear a lot more about, isn't it? These are really the next two up to try and compete against Cyclops, Sandbox, and of course Damon Kia, who have kind of been the main staples for quite a while here in APAC.
It isn't. It's an interesting time for it to all be happening as well, because you mentioned there that it seems as though the top of APAC are getting even better, because we see this sort of progression and development from the likes of Dan Wonkier, from the likes of Sandbox now, that are putting in a consistent good performance. So for me, I think it's a very good time that we're seeing this sort of development and progression top through bottom inside of the region. We're going to kick things off today. Talon starting off on the defense. Reject going to be starting off on the attack. Going to be headed to Aviator and Games here to kick things off with a fairly typical extension over into Statuary. The bans. Quite a strange set of bans here, Demo, especially given some of the discussions that you and I have been having a little bit earlier on today. We were talking about the sort of Finker Nook sort of ban criteria, if you will. Obviously, Valkyrie and Mirror there both being removed, so some pretty strong defender bans coming in. But that Finker Nook ban, you've got a really interesting theory about this, haven't you?
Yeah, Finker at the moment is very good. Very, very good. Everyone knows that. The LMG speaks for itself. Gone 6 nades, the whole shebang. And I've been a big advocate about why are teams not banning Finker. If something's that good, why are you not going and banning it? You know, it's something that we see from other MOBAs. You know, I do compare Siege sometimes to MOBAs because we have, you know, certain characters who do different things, you can ban them away. Like, you know, other classical MOBAs that you would see. So why can we not treat that the same? If something's really good, why are we allowing it to get played every single time? And the theory that's kind of came in is if you ban Finker, then typically the next best operator with nades is going to be a Nook. And as we know, Nook is a very different operator compared to Finker, whereas Finker is very loud and proud with the gadgetry and the weapons, whereas Nook is very silent. Nook can, of course, bypass cameras, which is one thing that we've seen a lot of. Bulletproof cameras have been a big thing. Whenever operators like Melusi we see shine through, Jaeger, of course, always going to be a mainstay. These are operators that can bring those bulletproof cameras, and straight away, that's where Nook can be so decisive. And it's more of a team preference where teams, they would rather play against Finker than have a crouch-walking Nook. But in this instance, we're seeing both bans.
Yeah. Absolutely, especially when you've got the Valkyrie and the Mirror withdrawn, you know, you're going to need those bulletproofs. We're not seeing them too heavily led into here. Misa is going to have one placed out there as the mute. So far, we're seeing Talon do a very good job of battling back here against this attacking push. Window actually going to be first picked there inside of bathroom, I believe. That's not a great. That's not a great operator to be losing straight off the rip. And I say straight off the rip. There's 50 seconds of the round left, so there really isn't a lot of time at all. This utility has not been sufficiently chewed through. Salty now looking to try and make a bit of impact there as he's going to be on the gridlock.
They're gone.
Not the typical operator that you would be looking toward. Obviously very slow, and when time is of the essence, not ideal at all. There has been an attempt for some sort of vertical play here, but it really hasn't come to anything. A little bit of a push up the stairs is going to give Take a nice kill over onto Marble. Misa there immediately there to trade it out as Salty is going to go down. Take going to try and push his way on in. He's got a little bit of support here, but look at that for a crossfire. Wonderful stuff. And it's going to leave Candy and Tara in a pretty difficult situation with the diffuser cold. A desperate push through into the vault. It was only ever going to lead one way.
Good stronghold. Starting things off from the defense. I think Talon didn't really feel any pressure at all. That's what it felt like for me. I think Reject went into that. They tried, I think, to do too many things there at one point. I think Villa is a very big map, and usually Villa, it's all about refrags. That's what it all comes down to. We talk about crossfires, these strong positions that defenders can hold. You need to make sure that if you're going in for those trades, somebody needs to be there to follow up. It just felt very separate from the players of Reject there. We had players coming in from below in towards living room, which, you know, we see a lot with the nades. We've seen Iana go in, use 2 nades. Didn't get any kills, though, which is probably the biggest thing. If you're going for that play, you need to make sure you have the nades to get those kills from below. And then at the same time where they're kind of trying to go for nades from below and then work up main stairs, then they've got this whole thing over in bedroom and they're trying to open up a triple wall. They can't because there's a Kaid and there's Thatcher open, but they're not bringing Thatcher.
I was literally just going to say, I'm glad you mentioned it.
Whenever your ace is the first player that dies, that shows that the entries are on the wrong side of the map. Because that means that clearly Ace has tried to get something going, realizing that, hey, there's a minute to go. We've done absolutely nothing in terms of map progress. I have to do something, and then he gets taken out. And then if he's gone, you can't do anything anyway.
We could spend the next 3 minutes talking about that round because there were just so many problems. What I'm going to address is what we've got in front of us now.
So different.
And that is the lineup that Reject are bringing. So they've just been essentially brick-walled by utility. Yep. Thatcher's open, as you mentioned, Demo. Yep. However, they've not chose to bring Thatcher. Instead, they've chosen to bring, you know, the sledgehammer. Not quite literally. Sledge isn't picked. But they're using a sledgehammer to crack open a walnut here. They've got a Ying and they've got a Blitz. That is something that you bring if you want to have a heavy pushing power, if you want a really big beachhead to mount your attack from. So far, they're seeing a little bit of early success. Window. He's taken Soldier down.
He's just opened up a window and he's just got a kill
I
from
think
it.
he was getting lucky, but you take all the luck that you get at this point, especially when it's a Wamai, because those discs now that generate over time are no longer a factor.
And having that opening kill is going to be so important whenever you're going for such a blitzneck strategy where this is either going to work or it's just not. It's all in. This is where you push all your chips into the middle, and if you manage to get the luck of the draw, then it'll work so well for them. All the Yings go in, the Blitz trying to push through. Talon are still in it, though. A down has happened onto the Blitz via the smoke, and they're still in it. Hetty may be looking to get aggressive, knowing that the Blitz has been down. He's going to take a walk outside a statue. Turns away at the wrong time, but no, never mind. Marble is there to eliminate Taki, who was looking to hit them, so they have been stalled out. It's kind of worked, but in reality, Ollie, they've used everything, and they haven't got what they've wanted, which is probably that diffuser going down.
Especially now when you're left with... What have we got? We've got a Blitz and a Gridlock. We've got 2 really, really slow operators, and only one of them's got a decent gun.
And there's a shield, and
the other one's got a shield. So it's very difficult. There's still utility to try and deal with, which isn't going to happen now. I would like to draw your attention to the top left of your screen. 2 nades have been left in pocket with, I think it was
Taki using it.
Yeah, Taki going down without actually having those nades available. So a little bit of a misfortune there. Now the approach is to go below and see if they can get anything happening vertically. We hear the last Toxic Babe canisters going out now. A little bit of barbed wire is going to be the sound cue as the Gon6 goes off to remove that. We know where one player is. Taddy getting himself cut down there by Marble. Now it is a clean 2 versus 1. 1 versus 1. The diffuser is going to be cold on the ground. 30 seconds is going to be enough time, however. And we do have the final swing coming in from Heady. That LMG just giving the game away a little bit. Gets the red ping. Bulletproof still up. Again, coming down to the utility usage here from Talon.
So you have to say that Reject, that was a lot closer, but still the same outcome. You lose the round. Okay, you've tried now 2 different ways. You've tried the more typical take, where you try and use nades from below, push across, you know, the whole shebang that we expect to see from Villa. But then they've also went for a rush play. And like I said, you're going all in. If that rush doesn't work the first time, and whenever things kind of slow down and peter out, it's not going to work again. We know that. Those rushes are only designed to hit them whenever the teams are not ready. Talon, you have to give credit to the smoke. You have to give credit to Heady. What he was able to do with that perfect smoke grenade to stop blitz planting in concrete won them the round single-handedly. As soon as that diffuser goes down, you then have to wedge through gridlocks that'll be going down. And of course, you're still in a 2v2. You have to go through the blitz then, who's very good at just peeking, finding out information, seeing who's diffusing. So yeah, the smoke, you have to give credit. That was really where the play came in, and it's good to see from Talon. I think whenever you do get hit with a rush strategy, you do feel like a bit of a fool, don't you? You know, as a defense, you should be ready for that. But I think rushes, because you don't see them all too often, you don't expect them. Isn't that it? It's like, oh, no one's that crazy. No, this is APAC. Of course they are.
Exactly. They're willing to take that risk. And now we're seeing them almost flip-flop again back to something more similar to what we saw brought in round number 1, with Reject opting for a much more traditional lineup here. And it's a lineup that I really agree with. I commented on how the gridlock isn't the de facto pick. It's a great pick, but you are slow. And if you're going to be trying to play quick and you're going to be leaving players in positions that, you know, aren't ideal, you can't afford to be slow as well as having everything else stacked up against you. So the Nomad gets brought in instead, which is a wonderful pick. The Flores for me is the big one. But what are we dealing with, Demo? We're dealing with Kitchen.
Yep.
And what do you usually deal with when you attack Kitchen?
Pulse.
You'd usually
My
deal
favorite.
with a pulse. And not just a pulse, but a pulse that has assistance.
Yep.
A C4 in the hands of a mute. Something else that they can now look to try and call out for. Flores drones are going to work in and try and open up a bit of these lines of sight. That's both ways at the moment. Those lines of sight are going to work just as well for Demic below as they are going to work for Reject above.
Demic needs to watch out that I don't copyright him for name infringement. One thing I've noticed.
It's entirely different.
It's very close. There isn't many players who have similar names to mine.
No?
I don't think we'll find anyone with yours.
No? One of a kind? Unique?
Nope. Ollie? No one's called Ollie.
No one's called Ollie.
But no, the Pulse is a great pickup. The information that you can find out from above, you can just call out to everyone. Okay, we've got 2 guys coming in towards Laundry. You can also see Pantry Stairs, which, as we know, is usually an area that we would see the odd kind of late roamer hit, and to give that information in. And there's nobody Pantry. You can roam back up into sight. It's great information all around. And of course, like you mentioned, comboing C4s with other operators. You know, Mute is a very common pick for Kitchen. You can really lock down that top floor, deny that drone work happening. But again, I worry now for Reject, because it's kind of coming back to what happened in the first round, Ollie, where they have all these players alive, but they haven't really done anything. You know, there's a minute gone, the wall has just only been opened, they've got very little pressure in towards the top floor, and again, this is where Demic is great, because he can call out all this information, and it just allows then teams to start swinging, and there we go, Tada tries to walk in, Nikki gets shut down, and Marble is happy enough to just sit now in a corner and just feed off that information. However, though, Candy has found 2 kills in this round, and it really has opened things up.
Marble in a pretty key position here, as he is going to be the sole survivor. Might find himself 1, but will be unlikely to find 2. Fluffs the shots there and gets re-picked by Salty. Will eventually be taken out. You've got to question how Talon really played that one, but look at Window. Front and center, right at the bottom of your screen. We mentioned on the desk that this is the hype man.
This is Norarengo vibes if I've ever seen any.
This is the energy and the vibes of the team. The rest of the team, fairly reserved. They should be. They've got 1 round so far. They're doing well. They're on attack on Villa. It isn't the easiest thing in the world. But you look at that energy that Window brings in, and that is going to give that morale boost. And slowly but surely, those smiles start to creep into the other face cams as well. And we see the team just start to believe in themselves a little bit more. One thing I want to go back to, Demo, is how that last round was played. Demic played Pulse, and Heady played Mute. They both had a C4.
No C4 kills.
There was no C4 kills, but not only that, both of the C4s were thrown as Hail Marys, no information, just a little bit blind. When you have that scanner, when you've got the heartbeat scanner on Pulse, it should be guaranteeing you a C4 kill.
Here's the thing, though, with how Reject attacked that. They didn't really go upstairs. If you look at actually how they attacked that, they had a bit of everything. They had players coming in from Laundry, a player coming in from Pantry, and then the rest of them kind of coming in from the China door. That was it. There wasn't really upstairs play, and then you have to kind of question Talon and say, okay, if they're not going above and they're trying to spread themselves out, then you have to question the roamers at that stage.
Yeah.
Because if you're trying to move in, where the big clock is, there's about 3 different angles you can get killed from. Why are we not seeing the roamers have more of an impact? Is it a case of that round they just lost their ones?
Yep.
Is that just it? Is that literally, well, I mean, that is usually what it comes down to, is who wins the gunfights. It is, as Des always says, it's a shooter. You have to kill people, and if you don't do that, it doesn't matter how good you are.
This is looking like a quite nice setup
here.
We've got the smokes coming in. We've got the blitz storming in through the site. There's a glass on the board as well. Look how deep Take has been able to get himself here. The Toxic Babe canisters are going off. This is as explosive as you like. A plant going down with 10 players remaining alive, and that plant will be confirmed. Window, he's going to have an opportunity to try and watch onto this on the glass as Candy has joined Take inside of the vault here. Picks himself up one, knows there's a chance that there will be more. It's going to be Heady that is next on the chopping block, taken down, as well as Demic tries to do something, but Candy's going nuts. That F2 is singing inside of the vault. The final kill comes through, and there we get to see Window giving it a little bit of a fist pump yet again. 2 rounds on the bounce here for Reject.
You know what's crazier than 1 rush?
2 rushes.
2 rushes. Would you have expected to see the second rush?
Is this going to be like Rush Impossible Challenge 100% when they go for the 3rd?
It's, whenever I seen that blitz come in, the exact same avenue where you jump in through the window and you go straight into sight, that's exactly what G2 did the other night. If you managed to catch it, Ollie, where it was Doki on the blitz, and he did exactly the same thing, walked straight into maps, into vault, and has that control. But here's the difference, that what G2 did compared to what we've just seen Rejects is, as soon as Blitz has that control, everyone has committed to that.
Yeah.
And that's why that works. That's where G2 didn't really pick up that round win, because they just left the Blitz in by themselves. As soon as Blitz was in there, how quick did it take Candy to get in behind him? Because he knows that's the safest position.
Seconds, yeah.
That is a deployable shield in a sense for that F2, just to sit behind, feed that information, and just pick them one by one by one.
Yeah, it was a great play. And I think that's the sort of commitment that you see inside of APAC, because they are often touted as very aggressive and very loose in the play style. When you add that little bit of sprinkling, that is a bit of structure and a bit of a plan, there was a lot of coordinated smokes that went in on that round. We had upside down repel from Glaz on the window. There was so much going on, and then as soon as that go button is pressed, and in this case, the go button was the blitz storming in.
It's the mentality of
everyone's
they win as a team, they lose as a team.
Yeah.
That's it. You know, it's not, oh, that's on you, that's on us. It's an us thing, not a you thing. That's the kind of difference that we're seeing with Rejects, is they will commit to those rushes. It's not often that we, whenever a team goes for a rush, which does happen in every region, for it to not work and then try another rush usually doesn't happen, because if the rush doesn't work the first time, you put it away. That's it, done for that week. We never go for that rush again, that's it. But then they've went for another rush.
Got to treat every round as new and as fresh as the last, and if you do want to just chain rushes back and back to get, you're going to get some sort of success eventually. And Reject have found a couple of good rounds there. Once again, we're seeing that switch back, that reverting to a little bit of something more traditional, with a lot of nade play going on in this round. We've got 4 nades being brought. They haven't really been too effective on those nades, and we've not really seen anywhere near as much vertical nade play as would be typical. But the job is going to be slowly but surely getting done. Still no Thatcher, which I think is maybe something we will question right up until the bitter end here, given that whilst Reject have picked up a couple of rounds, they've struggled to really chew through that utility.
I think it's a case of they don't know how they fit the Thatcher in. because they probably look at other operators and think, no, we need that. You know, obviously you need the hard breach, because what would the point of bringing a faction if you don't have the hard breach to go with it? I think they're just favouring the nades. You're not going to take away an LMG from Window. No way. But maybe you might need to, because he isn't having the greatest of games, Ollie. 1 and 4 is where he sits. Gets caught out with a C4, which is very common to see that happen. And to see Window fall for that, yeah, it's a big surprise.
Could be a freebie here as the yellow ping comes through. Salty is going to pick himself up a very nice kill there onto Demic and grab that kill back. Window, unfortunately, falling on the very same. I don't think we really saw him have too much of an impact there on the Zafira, especially considering you bring in that LMG. However, things have been equalised somewhat, and then some, as Heady isn't sitting on 100% health either. This time really starts to concern me. We're seeing the drones starting to flood through, but 30 seconds, and we know that there hasn't really been too much dealt with in terms of utility. What a nade! Does get himself down for the trouble, but the plant's going down on the other side, Demo, so attention cannot be drawn here. Candy grabs himself a freebie onto Heady as he just gets taken out, swinging that corner, and Marble now left in the 1 versus 2. Salty, of course, being down. We can't count him as an active participant in this round with a gun. However, he may find himself a little bit of info if he can crawl into position. No need here for Reject to start getting overzealous. No need for them to really extend here. They could still have a little bit of information. There's certainly a bit of info available for Marble, as that Bulletproof is going to watch his back here and alert him if anybody does swing through. That's still going to be the only call that Take needs to pick himself up the final kill inside of that round. And Reject, Demo, they're going to take a bit of a lead.
They have pulled it back extremely well. We mentioned with Window getting eliminated very early on. What killed him, Ollie?
A C4.
What would have been great to deny that plant going down?
I mean, you can use a lot of things. Some people like to use C4s.
Moments like that you don't think about actually has quite a big impact. If that C4 kill is being used just to kill a player in the window, that's one less thing to worry about denial. You have to remember where that main plant spot is. It's right beside the bomb chassis, tucked in to statue. It's a blind spot. You cannot be seen from any angle with a gun. So the only way you can do it is you have to sprint headfirst into statue, which you aren't going to do because there's a bunch of holes in a wall that you're not going to be able to get past the Habana. Or you lob the C4 over the double windows. So losing those C4s does come into play quite a bit. I also have to question, how was Habana allowed to get in to the site whenever Marble had that angle stopping anyone from rushing in? Remember, he was tucked in the corner in Astro. He sees that clear line of sight, so nobody can run past into that default plant without passing him. We didn't get to see it, but something's happened there where he's dropped the kill.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a couple of questions now that you can really start to pose, as Reject have shown very good form in sort of battling back, because those first couple of rounds, they really didn't go their way, did they? First round was a bit of a disaster. We didn't really see all too much at all. I think we've got a tactical timeout for Talon right now. And we have just seen a couple of players disappear from their screens, potentially. You know, when you got to go, you do have to go. Maybe a refill of the water and a bit of a chat and just see exactly what's going on here. It's not dire straits yet, Demo.
No.
3-2. However, that's 3-2 for the attackers. And I think that Reject certainly can hold their heads pretty high here. Look at Window. You can see his chair rattling from his feet that are bouncing. He's itching to get himself back into the server here. Has he got a caffeine drip
in the back there or something, though? It's just...
I honestly think it's just energy. I think it's just pure passion and real drive, because we saw that last round. You know, we commented how he got taken out straight away. He was still the one cheering the most at the end of the round. And obviously, he's going to have had say and impact. And, you know, he maybe jumps on the drones. And potentially that was how, again, he was allowed to navigate his team safely through. But you do just see him itching to get himself back into the server there. And why not? They're on a bit of a heater.
Hopefully he has a better defensive half. You know, Fabian obviously highlighted him as a player that has came in and has really helped this team in terms of just overall energy. And that's one thing as well that we have to take in consideration about this game, Ollie, is yes, what you do in the game is one thing, but it's all about the attitude, the mental game that we always like to come back to, Ollie. That has to play a big part. You know, we almost kind of add up as 40% of this game is playing it, 60% is how your mental's doing.
Yeah.
You know, this game is very turbulent. Everyone knows, you know, the comebacks that can happen, moments that just get you so angry, RNG elements. there's a lot of things that can certainly play on the mind, but you always have to be positive 24/7. No matter what it is, you just have to keep going.
Well, I'm sure that is exactly what Reject are going to look to continue doing here. So far, it's looking like they're going to need to continue, really. I don't see any reason why they can't end this as a 4-2 split on attack, which, for all intents and purposes, for Villa would be very good, especially considering, you know, the bans that we're looking at. We commented on this at the start.
Moment, I think it's usually been a 3-3 half at the moment is kind of where we sit with Villa.
But you look at a Finker ban and you look at a Nook ban. It does start to throw the balance a little bit there. Obviously, we've seen the Valk and the Mirror taken out as well.
Yeah, but then you weigh up, okay, Thatcher's open then.
It's all very balanced. It all feels very balanced.
I just feel as if it should be 3-3 splits either half.
Yeah.
Because I think Kitchen's going to be very tricky still, I think, to defend. Always has been very tricky to defend. You know, usually it's been the top floor sites that have worked really well for the defense, but Kitchen is a little bit more tricky just because you can have that vertical presence, which helps a lot on the attacking spectrum, especially whenever you look at the Kitchen bomb site. There's not a single area that you can sit that is safe, that you can't get sledged open from above. So that's kind of the hindrance that I would say that you would have with a Kitchen site. So you really have to rely well on a roam game. But in terms of the other two, they are very, you know, Fort Knox, isn't it? You just anchor up.
That's the thing.
Play ball.
It's Fort Knox. When Thatcher's open and you're not bringing it, you're making things really difficult for yourself.
All of a sudden, there's a bulldozer.
it can be very difficult to try and get in, and that's something that, you know, Rejects did struggle with in the first couple of rounds, and then they started to take a little bit of a different approach, took a little bit of a step back and just reassessed how they wanted to move forward on this. On the flip side, for Talon, I think these they're obviously going to be looking to go back to Kitchen. I think that's probably a good chance for them. They weren't successful.
Would they want to go to Kitchen?
I think they'll probably give Kitchen another go, just given the fact that we're going to see likely a different style come out. You know, you mentioned those roamers. I'd like to see the roamers stretch the legs a little bit more.
Up until about 50 seconds, it looked as if that they were going to win that Kitchen quite easily. You know, they're sitting there 5v5. Rejects had a wall open, and that was it. Maybe 2 wall. I think they had the pantry wall and part of the laundry wall. That was it because they got impact tricked. So there wasn't really anything that Talon had going for them, anything that Reject had going for them. All of a sudden, they just appear with kills out of nowhere. And I think then that does come down to win your ones. The roamers have to do a job there. So maybe, but I think they'll have another go at that top floor. I think all they had to do was bring the Kaid, which they'd done previously, but they didn't that round, which was a bit of a surprise. And there's been no Thatcher being shown at all by Rejects.
No, they've got no intention to play Thatcher. I don't think it's, you know, even though it's open and even though it's something that's banned so regularly, I don't feel like it's something that they're really going to be vibing with at all. I was looking over the statistics for sort of APAC North as a region, and Finker is quite commonly banned. It is one of the regions
this region.
That does start to. I mean, it's a region after your own heart, really, isn't it, Demo? You love a little bit of a Finker ban. Flores coming in at
too many crutches in the other regions for my liking.
Yeah. Well, we all started as an Ash crutch, and then obviously it developed from there. It was a Sophia crutch, and then it was an Iana crutch.
Yeah, but we didn't have bans back in the day.
No, but even when we did, it was still like, you know, we can still remember when bans came in. And it was like, oh yeah, let's ban Ash. Like, let's be really edgy and ban their, like, you know, top fragger's best operator.
That still happens.
And it's just sort of developed.
It still happens sometimes, to be fair. Like if a certain player is known for an operator, you know, we've seen that banned out. So it does happen from time to time. But the thing is with like the whole Finka theme, every player in a team will have a Finka player, right?
You have to.
There will be a Finka main. This guy only plays Finka. That is it. That's all he can do is play Finka. And if you go and ban that, not only, yes, maybe you're, you know, banning away from the enemy team's crutch, but then you're also hindering your own player. And that's, I think, the biggest issue with Finka at the moment is every team will want to have her just because they have a player who will want to play her.
I'm judging off Windows' reaction here, and either he's just trying to keep the team going, or we're getting close to the game start.
He's mental, him, isn't
he? You can see him cheering away. I can hear the music in my ears. The players' faces light up with the orange glow that is that Villa loading screen. And I'm sure that we're going to be heading into the game very shortly indeed. We're going to join exactly where we left off, 3-2 currently.
I love him. He's great.
That's what you need. You need the hype. Tactical. So a technical into a tactical.
Just a big old rehost.
And now we start the timer. So Talon can discuss just exactly what it is that is going on here. 3-2 currently to Reject. So Talon are using this as an opportunity to, I guess, reset the mental. A chance at reclaiming a 3-3 split for the half.
I think they want the even split. I think especially on Villa defense. I think with, like we've mentioned about some of the bans with Finka and Nook, especially with some of the rounds that Reject was able to get away with, I think Talon probably themselves would have thought they'd be in a better position right now.
I think they would. I don't think you expect to, fall victim to the consistent rush strategy.
It's just they held it so well the first time, but then they couldn't do it the second, which is probably the strangest thing.
Did you see that? We got a glimpse for a second demo. Look at what's been brought, man.
Wow.
We've got the Thatcher. We've spent a good portion of the rehost there talking about, Thatcher this, Thatcher that, we're going to sit, we're going to not. We've finally got the Thatcher. Not only have we got the Thatcher, we've also got a Flores into the mix. You said, what would you throw up? What would you throw away? What would you give up? Well, give up the flank watch.
Yeah, Nomad.
Because we haven't really seen Talon do too much flanking.
Very static.
Very static.
Yeah. I mean, the only kind of play that we seen was, I think it was like one round where Hetty was able to like slip out a statue to try and challenge a guy by pig window, but then that was it really. There's been no occasions where we've went, oh, here comes the big. There's been none of that. There's been no big flanks. They have still brought in the guide.
Oh man, just as we got excited about it.
What?
It's been changed.
Yeah, don't see. I mean, just
it's been 7th pick.
Let it happen. This means that the Kai's going to be really good now. Because no Thatcher, nobody's going to be able to really hinder, maybe apart from a Twitch drone if it can sneak in, but then again, it can sometimes be tricky to get that Twitch drone into a good position. All it takes is a single bullet. It's not that strong, Ollie, if it could just be shot.
Yeah, I don't know. I find Twitch really, really tricky. I think a good Twitch player is invaluable because we saw what Candy was doing when he was pushing into the vault and, really getting aggressive and using that F2. Yep. And then you throw the Twitch drone, the shock drone into the mixture as well, and it just becomes a little bit more deadly and dangerous. I can only imagine that Rotero drone just ran out of charge before it was able to make its way to the barbed wire. Obviously, you can't drive those things around forever. They're on a limited timer.
That would be a fun buff.
I think it would be a little bit too much, probably.
Drone racing.
Because you could just start in spawn then.
Could I be the voice of the drone racing? That job's been...
I'm not sure.
That's filled, I'm pretty sure, that position.
This is the value that you get out of the Twitch. And you don't need to bring the Thatcher if you're going to be this effective with the Twitch shock drone. For my money, it shouldn't have gotten this far. Let's be honest. It's already picked up one piece of utility. It's searching out for this mute jammer. I imagine that it's going to get shot out fairly soon. We've taken out the camera on 90 as well. That's a huge amount of util gone.
I'm surprised that he hasn't pursued that mute drone, because that would be great to slip in the Flores drones. However, the mute... Oh, there it is. Yeah, the mute jammer does manage to get it. I was wondering, where is it? But it's in behind the shield, so as that jumps and tries to detonate, it will be caught. And there goes the mute jammer. See, this is what he should have done. And to be fair, he's done that and also been able to keep the Twitch drone alive still.
Ooh, great kill from Hetty, though. I don't think that Tado was actually anticipating Hetty had pushed down onto those main stairs, and just on the crossover, Hetty's been able to pick him up.
This causes a lot of issues now, Ollie, because we always mention that you need at least one player to go towards study, just to put a bit of pressure on the players who may be at the top of the stairs, stops people rotating in towards study. Without him now, this makes things very difficult for Reject, because then they have to either send over another player, which they have done. It looks to be Window has taken up the mantle, but now that leaves you one short for actually getting that plant down in towards the vault door.
Bit of a pre-fire there from Window, trying to pick up anybody inside of the site through those soft walls. Take going to be pushing up those main stairs as well now. Toxic Babe canisters being used. We're seeing nades starting to be cooked as Wamai discs are going to be slowly burnt out. That one, however, will catch, and it's going to allow Demic a bit of a swing here. He does a bit of chip damage, but Window's pushed up very aggressively here. Vert nade kill coming in from Salty as Window shuts him down as well. Take going to be pushing his way on through that games room door. Hetty picks the double on the round, but it's not going to be enough. 5 seconds left. Plant being attempted. Candy, no option but to try and stick this now, and Misa needs to push in and find something. The pre-fire is isn't successful. The plant goes down. Window picks the kill. Very, very fine margins there. If that pre-fire would have been a little bit different, we maybe could have been seeing a bit of a comeback there, but Reject pick up yet another round and storm their way through onto this next half.
They have gotten away with murder, Ollie. How they've won that round at 30 seconds with literally no walls open, very little pressure towards the zombie door, and they still managed to win that round. And do you know what was really important? What was really good timing? As we've seen Window push in to eliminate that player inside of maps, do you see a nade kill went off? That was a nade onto the player inside of Vault that would have killed Window. The timing of everything there was brilliant. As Window goes to the swing, the only thing that's going to kill him is either the player he's swinging onto, which he won't lose that though, because he's going to have that peeker's advantage. But then it's going to be that man in Vault who can then swing and stop that kill from happening. You eliminate that Vault kill, you're getting two. You're getting two, and you're not losing anyone as well. That's the biggest thing about that. The player downstairs with the nade is going to be completely safe. And of course, Window, if nobody's there to kill him, he's going to be safe as well.
Something that's really impressed me from Rejects is their ability to time things.
The teamwork has been phenomenal.
And it's not an easy thing to do, and it's something that a lot of teams do aspire to get to, is to all be in a position where they are flexible enough to say, this is the go time. Is everybody okay with that? And everyone's like, yep, and we're just going to go in and we're going to commit.
It's very rare that you would see nade kills happen that late on from below. Yeah. Typically, if teams are going for, nades from below, they'll take, the first half of the round just to purely do nade. Nobody is in the building. They're just simply trying to get nade kills using drones. Whereas this is now a bit more of a different situation where we're seeing kills in combination with people actually pushing into sight along with nade kills. We don't see that. It's like you're calling an artillery strike as you're pushing into the battlefield.
Very well timed indeed. Switching things around now. Reject's going to kick off on the defense. Talon, got a lot of salvation to do here, especially given that they are going to be on the attack now. And they've gone for a much more different approach here, Demo. Take going to be given a freebie.
How does
there.
That happen?
Marble, how do you not know he's there?
Where's the drones?
Jackal, for goodness sake.
But where's the drones?
Where's the drone? Where's the Inox? Where's anything? You can't just take out the default.
Call.
Very, very difficult to watch. You look at this lineup and you think, Dokkaebi, Jackal, there's going to be drones.
No problem with drones.
There shouldn't be any roamers here.
Information.
We should be able to get some info on these guys. We need to know where they are and stuff. The call comes out, but it's a little bit late. The DMR isn't the best weapon to be pre-firing with, especially through that sort of an angle. Going to post up on the upside down rappel. No one's being given a real reason to move at the moment. Nothing to be found there success-wise. You can drone out as much as you like of this aviator side, and you will not find all too much. The ground is there for the taking.
And one thing as well about that happening, seeing a roamer get that first kill against this team comp, is you're attacking Kitchen. Of course there's going to be roamers. Nobody does a 5-man turtle inside a kitchen. They're going to be out and about hunting for kills, trying to gain the upper hand, because they know that this bomb site isn't the most favorable sometimes for defense. So you have to go out of your way and you have to try and disrupt the attackers, and to see that happen is very surprising. Window always tried his hand, but Soldier, the ARX is always going to win that. Still a very strong weapon at this moment. We talk about the LMGs, the ARX, Ollie, still hits as hard as one.
It's an absolute truck, isn't it? Great little drone bait as well there. I think it's not the easiest thing in the world to do and hold your nerve for, but Soldier ready to take on the challenge. Does something to grab that kill back as a trade. There's still a little bit of a ways to go here as they're working in toward this kitchen dining site. Salty going to be way upstairs. There's no one that's really going to be looking to try and challenge onto him. Dokkaebi call comes through. Demic picks himself up one before Candy hits him with the refrag. 3 versus 3 now, so all things fairly square, and there's a lot of info available here as well. But Candy peeks, and he didn't really need to. 2 kills for Talon. The plant's going to start to go down, and Salty's location is going to be known. Goes for the switch, tries to get himself in through tarps here, was trying to hit some nice one-taps, but it was not to be. Demic, star of the round there as the sledge really in the engine room of the site, putting the work in.
That is now kind of both times where we're seeing that kitchen be held, and neither attacking force have any interest in upstairs. Not looking to go above, not looking to play the verticality, just opening a few walls and then just kind of walking into the site. It was more China focus coming in from kitchen whenever we've seen rejects. This time from Talon, they went a little bit more in towards the tarps room, didn't they? So, yeah, it's very strange to see attackers not go above and still have a good success winning that bomb site.
that's the standard way to take it.
Of course it is.
Especially when you're going to bring a sledge.
This means nothing in this region. My little EU heart is crippled right now.
You're like classic traditionalist mindset of Siege.
You see what Cyclops has done to me.
Yeah. This is exciting, though.
The edge. It's new fundamentals.
It's nice to watch something different.
New techniques that I've never seen. I feel as if other regions could honestly learn something.
I think they will.
Honestly.
They will. The rise of APAC. Tim's already thrown his hat in the ring as well.
What do you mean?
We recorded some content yesterday and Tim said some words that he also said, and I'm happy for you to clip this. And he has really made a big...
Oh, so he's saying APAC's going to win in a major or something.
He's thrown a flag in the ground for APAC, yeah.
He did the same with Brazil, to be fair, and how's that ended up?
I mean, he wasn't wrong.
What a year.
Yeah.
Not just what a tournament from whatever team, what a year for Brazil they had. Maybe APAC up next, but I think North America at the moment, Ollie. You can't doubt them.
I really like some of these keeper barricades that have been placed up.
We haven't really had a chance to talk about just how good Nazami has really kind of fit it into this meta. I do see her as she has 5 pocket deployable shields in a way. That's sometimes I think you can kind of look at it as it's there just to give a bit of a cover. But it is also just really good at making areas that are very tricky to hold easier to hold. It's almost what I think the kind of envision of Thunderbird was, where you could just constantly take damage and then heal yourself back up. Whereas Thunderbird, we know, didn't really have that same impact because it is tricky sometimes to really maneuver around. Whereas I think the keeper barriers, it gives you that maneuver, doesn't it? It allows you to block lines of sight, allows you to have a bit of freedom. It lets you walk without having to be shot.
It's a time thing as well, right? Those can be deployed
Soaks up
very
utility,
quickly,
which is nice as well.
And it's doing a lot to soak up here because Candy's basically had almost everything removed here. The nade comes through brilliantly timed. We didn't see very many nade kills from Reject, but Talon are going to be kicking off here. Salty, difficult challenge here, but no, the player looks the wrong way, grabs one, traded instantly. 3 on the round just from main stairs. Can he find the 4th? Deals some chip damage in onto window. A very heavy advantage here as the nade comes through. It was close. Stuns now as well, starting to make this even more difficult. Those vertical angles are going to be no good, I'm afraid, window. Everybody is already well advanced up that main stair.
Still 2 nades left as well. There's one of them going to be tossed out. Soldier still has another one in the pocket. All of that being done and still nades on board that Rejects has to dance around. The drone will be able to spot out Taki and gets eliminated right away. Good drone work, being able to slow it down, knowing that they have plenty of time, don't need to rush things and just see the round out to its fullest capacity. Window stuck in the 1v4. Let's see if he can keep this energy going and have a big old clutch. Nope, the air jab will send him flying back into the wall. And an easy cleanup for Talon. Just great utility work overall. That's what you expect to see. There is nothing that you can do as a defense there. They put everything they can, but to see that clear come in, all the flashbangs, the stuns, and then the nade just go flying. What can you do against it? Perfectly played by Talon. All credit to them. Love to see that main stairs work.
That was the kitchen sink. It really was. Everything was thrown from both sides. We saw Reject heavily bolster that area. ADS, Wamai,
Keeper barriers.
Global shield. Banshee. There was everything there. Everything you could have wished for, you had. You had all the tools at your disposal.
I think they used 6 flashes and like 2 concussions, and then the nade hit.
And then the nade hits.
All that.
Then we had the Flores drones prior to that. The Flores drones to remove a lot of the utility. That got rid of, I think, one of the ADSs. It got rid of the barricade and the Kiba. So fantastic there from Talon. And it's in direct contrast to how we saw Reject starting off. Reject really struggled against that utility game, didn't they? They just weren't really anywhere to be found dealing with the attacker utility, and they found a lot of their success through rush rounds and through aggression.
The cheese, that's what I like to call it.
Yeah, I mean, it works, doesn't it? And for a round for Talon that, you know, maybe didn't look to start off fantastically, they've certainly managed to salvage and then some. They've leveled it up now, 4-4. It's back to being anybody's.
Yeah. I mean, Demic, since that kind of rehost, look at 7 kills, obviously had prior to it. He's been a big standout player, as we know, that, you know, probably the best player that we've seen for Talon. He's, I think, in 6th place is Ollie, so not quite the top 5 in the region, but still very, very close to that. And yeah, he's showing up again. Maybe this is his day where he wants to try and push into that top 5. Certainly could be a possibility for him, but he's making things work at the moment. So another attack comes in for Talon. It will be onto that Kitchen again. Kitchen has been very weird today. We haven't really seen teams go with a more traditional route of going above, using the sledge, using the buck, clearing away the utility in the site, and then moving into laundry, getting that plant down. Now we're seeing these sides really trying to hit more off the other rooms, the more exterior rooms. You're looking towards laundry, pantry, that single window that jumps into the storage room. These areas of the map that we don't really see be pressured by attackers all too often now, all of a sudden are having a big upheaval.
Would you say that there's an operator that you bring sometimes when things maybe aren't going your way?
In terms of defense?
Yeah.
Don't make me say it.
If you know, there's something that you feel like you could do to slow down people or play a little bit more aggressive, great opener there from Take onto Demi. Going to find himself two as well as Marvel comes in an attempt to pick the refrag up. Heady, he's been downed. I'm not sure if he was down from our favourite, you know. Was he down from the cap can?
Has he been down by a cap can?
I sincerely hope he has. No chance. He's outside. Never mind. Must have been something else. Soldier is going to be looking to move in to see if he can at least get into a position to assist, and he's going to have to, as the players are falling like flies. This is a 1 versus 5 here. Soldier picks himself one onto Take. Is he going to be able to find himself a second? Has to double check every single doorway for the threat of those entry denial devices. Will be able to revive his teammate and take a little bit of stock. But with 50 seconds and a less than full health side, this is going to be a difficult 2 versus 4 demo.
Yeah, I don't really know what's happened here for TALON. Just losing players left, right, and center. Obviously, Take being able to get gifted a free kill, but then to find the second kill is really surprising. Winning it against the Sophia LMG as well. Yeah, all credit to him. He's just hit shots and he's one of those engagements. It happens sometimes, but yeah, TALON should be refragging that a lot better, but it just hasn't worked for them. And as soon as that opening double kill happens, where do you go from there? You know, where do you go from there? TALON just in the mud. Down goes Heady. Sure get picked up, but he didn't last long. And Soldier, who has been the only player to get a kill, doesn't find a second. Nicky's there. Just has that confidence, can swing freely. Well, rejects. The defense working really well for Kitchen, but to be honest, Ollie, it leaves a bit of a sour taste just of how things have went for this game, where it has been very close. That seems like a full backpedal all of a sudden from TALON. They were really getting a good rhythm going, and then for a round like that to happen where it was just dead after the first 2 kills is really, really surprising.
That's the whoopsie round, isn't it? That's the we took our eye off the ball.
That's just a go next. As soon as there are 2 kills, go next. Yeah. Run in, go next.
We took our eye off the ball for a moment and things really went from bad to worse.
You were trying to bait me into a cap can conversation.
But I mean, we didn't even need to get there, which is probably a good thing.
Oh dear.
I really like how Rejects have just been able to once again flip that switch and turn it around. And I think it comes back to the mental game that they're bringing. These guys are never down until they are out. I can see by your expression and the fact that you've got one hand on your head. It's not quite a hands in or head in hands moment, but it's halfway there. Anything you want to talk about, Demo? Maybe a bit of a Tachanka conversation?
My most hated operator. For those who don't know, I do not like Tachanka. I think everything that he is, Smoke does better. Destructibility, Smoke with a shotgun can do that.
Not as quick.
Doesn't matter. You can still do it. Deniability, Smoke does it better. These little fire launchers do about 5 damage a second. That's nothing. You see a sea of flames, you can run through that. Tachanka, too slow. Automatically, he's a 1-speed, already in the bad brackets for me. There is just so many things I just do not like. Deployable shield, what does Smoke have? Exactly. Everything that Tachanka stands for, Smoke's done it first and done it so much better. So the whole idea about this bomb site, it is a living room, which is what we have to mention, Ollie. This is usually the 4th child in the villa that just nobody likes. Nobody likes this child because it is so difficult to defend, mostly because there's a raging blind spot. If you actually look at the living room side of things, there is a massive brick wall that you cannot shoot through and a team can plant from very, very easily, and that's why it's very difficult. What is going on here for Nicky? He is looking to swing out into the balcony.
How has he gotten away with that? We saw such a
nobody
heavy
died?
stack up of players there from Talon. There was a nade at his feet that was glowing red, and he's just
Should've wanted
strolled
to
away
C4
from it.
out.
Like, I just don't get it. How's he lived? Window is going to be almost the second line of defense. He's going to be playing inside of the vault. Those important lines of sight that have been opened up with Labour and Love from the Tachanka are really going to provide quite a bit here. It's going to deny a little bit of area, and I think that that's something that they're going to be looking to try and do, is continually area deny. That's something that Smoke can't do, is deny for long periods of time like he can with this launcher. Candy going to pick himself up a kill there onto Soldier, really just making that Alder go burr as he just fires shots in and down. Demic, not sure if he knows where that kill came in from. Another fumble on this study door, but it will result in a kill and a clean up there. Talon still not looking too pretty, as elsewhere approaches onto the site have been met with quite a lot of resistance. Misa almost certainly going to get swung by 90. He does pick up the kill inside of games though, and Window isn't going to risk taking that. Sorry, Take isn't going to risk taking that challenge. Demic going to be left to try and flood on in now.
See what I mean?
Now given no option though. Look at how deep he's been forced to push, and he doesn't have the diffuser. Tachanka can just continually block off that line of sight.
Sneak plant.
Misa now going to start to try and open up the wall. Those Selmas are going to be letting Demic out as well, giving him a bit of an option to rotate. That Tachanka has been so threatening there. He's actually had to use those Selmas to get himself back out again. A bit of a ring around the rosy. I'm not sure why you would go back upstairs after already dealing with that. Obviously, you've got the threat of the vertical.
Yeah.
But that's just, you know, we've not been able to achieve this job. I've got to go down and save Demic and get him out of dodge. Then I'm going to go back upstairs and try and pick up the kill. And all of that is sound. All of that is time. And all of it leads to a match point here for Reject.
There's not enough time, I feel, sometimes for me. Because there's just so much that happened.
Say it.
Right. So, not the greatest bomb sites for defense. Typically, you have to put all of your eggs into an upstairs hold because you need to try and use the verticality, deny people just walking in and planting, which, to be fair, happened. We've seen that in the late game. They had holes above, being able to stop that plant going down, so that's why we've seen Misa then had to run all the way back up and then try and challenge, but then there was no time anyway, so even if we got that kill, it would have made a difference. They still would have lost a round. But if you look at the actual opening for Talon, if you're trying to take control of this bomb site, you commit to upstairs. If you take upstairs, the whole thing crumbles. Everything crumbles. If you try and go direct without taking above, the holes above are going to be able to shut you down. You need to take above in that element. And to not see Talon go for that and almost just try and walk into sight, it's not going to work.
Yeah. I think something that we're seeing here a little bit, especially in this game, is that sure, you can have a really good plan, but you also need to know every single step. So it's not just take ground floor and then plant. It's, you know,
need to take above.
You got to start with, we need to take above, and then we need to take ground floor, and then we need to plant. Then we can get in onto the side. And it just feels like, you know, doing this and then having these two different teams that are going to go off and do one thing here and one thing there, it's not really working all too well at the moment. Talon do have an opportunity though. This is where they saw success demo. One thing that we credited them on was their use of utility, particularly on this site, in terms of dealing with those bulletproof shields, the Banshees, and the Kiba barriers. Fortunately, there's no Kiba barriers here for them, but Demic's just strolled in and picked up a couple of pieces of Wamais and a couple of ADSs and stuff. How's it been allowed?
I don't know. There should be vertical holes above that from happening to stop that from just a player simply walking in. So, yeah, this does leave them now in a bad position, Ollie. We mentioned that they can burn through, you know, the full setup. How are they going to be able to stop, you know, the half setup happening right now for them? Nikki, you can understand whenever things aren't going well, he's then trying to swing as the utility gets dumped in, hopefully trying to find a kill. But Demic, who has been on his game so far today, takes advantage of that, swings in, gets an easy kill, and already Rejects. This main stairs is crumbling, and there's still half a round to go.
Candy going to see if he can get anything out on the balcony. It's always a risky one because you know there's likely going to be a player on either side, but he's not really got any safety to fall back onto on those main stairs. Retreats himself back into the site. C4 could be big here if timed correctly, but it is shot out of the air. Marble, he can just burst that LMG as much as he likes, announcing his entry to the top of those main stairs. His teammates still trying to push the way in through Study. Claymore can get placed out now as well to assist with any of that flanking potential. And the defenders, again, they're just being pushed and forced back into the site a little bit deeper.
Still fighting.
Every single step. Window, he's going to pick one up in return. So we can hear that Rotero drone pinging off just in an attempt to remove a little bit of the utility.
No hard breach on the side of the attack, which is probably what we have to question now. Without having the hard breach, sure, you've done really well to actually gain a bit of a foothold. You've got, you know, that beachhead established. You've got main stairs control. But now the defenders can just hide. They can just hide behind these reinforced walls. Vault has become a very difficult position that we know that players have to deal with, and a shotgun is there. Salty being able to swing for all he's worth and find a freebie. Taki, well, the easiest kill for him all day, and they almost line up. But no, Misa is there, but Salty again with the shotgun just keeps on swinging, and another one, no! Misa will get the refrag, but a 1v2 rushes in to open arms for Rejects, and they will take the victory on Villa. A great hold. Oh, it didn't look good for them for the majority of really that round. It started off very bad for them. That main stairs not working out, but my oh my, what a way to pull things back. They knew that, hey, we're in the mud here, we need to get out of it, and they just started swinging.
And look at exactly what that means to the team as well. Window giving us a big old cheer. Of course, we did have a little bit of a rehost through. That's the lobby isn't entirely accurate there in terms of the kills, but what a game there. I think the Rejects have really given a good account of themselves, and there was highlights that you could pick out for both sides. I think both sides really impressed me. Talon did a great job with their utility previously when they attacked onto that aviator site, and it was just a bit of a shame that despite the fact they did a good job again, it didn't really work out for them there in that last round, but plenty of good highlights to go over, I'm sure. And Rejects, ultimately the team that just adapted a bit quicker and a bit harder on the day.
Yeah, and it didn't look good for Rejects. I think after the first round, I was like, this is worrying. Yeah. The rush then happened, and you're like, that didn't work either. So you've tried slow, you've tried fast. What do you do now? You've tried the two ways you can play Siege, and what did they do? Oh, we'll just do it again. And it worked, which is probably the weirdest thing. Stuff that caught Talon by surprise. They had already previously defended against it. So, yeah, I think Talon, certainly that first half, they'll probably be looking back at that and thinking, we should have done better. Big time they should have done better.
That's the one to go back and really analyse and dig deep into, because they did fall victim to some of the same tricks multiple times. And I think that if there's anywhere that they could gain easy rounds, it would be in that first defensive phase for them. And then obviously when you move on to the attack and you've already had that sort of real battle, you've managed to get it back to 4-4, which was impressive in itself, but it just didn't feel like there were enough sites then that they could go on and attack onto on Villa to really start to make that difference. So Rejects are going to walk away the winners there inside of that game, and I think that by all accounts been fairly entertaining.
Yeah, I've enjoyed it. I think APAC have shown some really good techniques. I love the fact of light nades going down in some of those rounds, with comboing that with kills. A lot of really good highlights as well. There wasn't really too many nade kills until I would say the second half. I think that first half, we've seen like barely any nade kills from Rejects.
Yeah, it was kind of surprising. I think that's not
Villa. It's Villa. You always see nades, but maybe
we weren't expecting it, were we?
Think a Nook, 2 nades. So maybe that's another thing we have to look at, why there wasn't so many nade kills for Rejects.
Absolutely. We're going to throw it to a very short break. After that, we're going to be back with the desk to break that one down. Do not go anywhere. We'll be back in just a few.